Hey guys, Danny from Your Guitar Academy, and welcome back to this 30-day beginner challenge. And what we're now going to do is we are going to do a little bit of theory, okay? So whilst you're still practicing all of the other stuff, because obviously this is a daily thing, so I wouldn't want to give you something totally new to practice every single day. And that's why today we're going to do the major chord construction. Really important, integral theory, which is applicable to the guitar. So pick up your guitars and let's get started. So if you're new to this course and you've just come through to this on YouTube, then please remember that you can head on over to the website and you'll find full write-ups for every lesson, all of the tab, all of the chord boxes, the fretboards, everything you need to absolutely smash and master every single lesson. As well as that, please do like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It massively helps us continue to provide you these free courses, and leave us a comment. If you've got questions, we will get back to you. So leave us a comment under the video and we'll speak to you there. Right then guys, so for the major chord theory, we'll initially put this beautiful guitar down and look at the blackboard. Woohoo, there she is. So what we need to do, what we need to establish here is how we construct a major chord. So you now know a range of major chords. You know your A major, E major, and D major chords, okay? And they're great chords, they sound good, they sound kind of happy, right? That's the kind of vibe of those chord shapes, typically. And now what I want to do is just look behind the bonnet and just see how you actually construct that in terms of our theory. Super important to know so that you can actually understand what you're doing on the guitar next. So what we need to do first is come back to our major scale, because if you remember when we did the major scale, I made it very clear that this is the base of everything, okay? So what we're going to do now is going to recap that and build a chord. So we're going to do the A major chord, okay? Or in fact, let's do the D major chord, because that's actually one, I've got an interesting point about that when we get to it. So the first thing we need to do is build a D major scale, okay? So if you remember, we start with the D. So we put the D in there, whoop, like so. It's a pretty solid start, the D. And now we bring our formula. So who remembers the formula? Tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. All right, so tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. And that will give us our major scale. Okay, so let's do this together. So a D, a tone up from D, it would be D, D sharp, E. So we have an E. Okay, the second note is E. A tone up from E, E, F, F sharp, because remember there's no E sharp, so we've got an F sharp. What about a semitone from F sharp? A semitone from F sharp to G. Okay, so that's a G. A tone up from G, G, G sharp, A. Remember there's no H, so we're back to A. A tone up from A, A sharp, B. That's a tone. Okay. What about a tone up from B? B, C, because there's no B sharp, so B, C, C sharp. And then a semitone from C sharp, D. So you know you've done it right. And let me just add these numbers in at the top. 4, 5, 6, 7, 1 again. So you know you've done it right when you start and end on the same letter. Okay, so there's your D major scale. D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. Okay, and hopefully you were able to do that. Or you were able to do that with me, or separately you were practicing it and you were able to put together a whole major scale. But always just remember that tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, that formula. Okay. Now next up, we need to take that and use it to construct our major chord. Okay, and this is where it gets really interesting, and you know, you start to understand why this in itself is so important. Okay, so to construct a major chord, we look at these numbers up here. So I've numbered this scale. The major scale is always numbered in the same way: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1 or 8. the octave, basically. They're the basics, okay? Anything you do to that is altering those numbers, okay? Now, in this case, what we want to do is remember that to create a major chord, we need to pick the root, so the first one, the third note, and the fifth note, okay? So that's a D, an F sharp, and an A. If we pick those three notes, so D, F sharp, and an A, so that is the root, so the first note, the third note, and the fifth note, it equals the D major chord. Okay, so there we go. If we take the first D, the third, which is F sharp, and the fifth, which is A, we get a D major chord. Okay, it's as simple as that. So again, you have this formula to create your major scale, which is tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Okay, and then you have a formula to create a major chord. You simply take the root, the third, and the fifth. If you do that, you will create a major chord. So if you want to, for example, create an E major chord, you'd first write out the E major scale, and then you take the first, third, and fifth from the E major scale, and that will give you your E major chord, okay? And what I'd highly recommend, I'll pop that down for a second, is that every single time, every chord that we create on the guitar, you spend the time with a piece of paper to try and theoretically put it together. So, you know, we know an E major chord, we know an A major chord, and we know a D major chord, right? So those are really, you know, big chords. And I would take each one, so I'd get an A major, and I'd write out the A major scale, and then I'd take the root, the third, and the fifth, and try and see how that then fits on the guitar. So let's take the D. So we established that the root was a D, the third was an F sharp, and the fifth was an A, okay? So let's see what we've actually got in this chord, shall we? So I've got this open string. That's a D. So that's the root. We know that's right, okay? We've then got this note. Now this note is an A, okay? Think about it, G, G sharp, A. So that's the fifth. So we've got the root and the fifth of the chord. Then we've got this note here. And that note is the D. So it's the D again. So it's an octave of that D, okay? So at the moment, we've got the root, the fifth, and the root. So we need to add in the third, otherwise it won't be a major chord. So this note here is an E, F, F sharp, okay? So that F sharp, that gives us our D major full chord, because that's the third, okay? So we've got root, fifth, root, third. Now doing this process, one, makes it clear why that note is so important when you're playing this chord. A lot of you will be getting basically the root, the fifth, and the root, which is something called a power chord. It's not quite the full chord. You have to have that major third. And something that's really interesting as you do this is you see, oh, well actually, I'm doubling up on notes here. I've got a root twice in this. And you might find as you do other chords, you probably have a root 3 times, or the fifth twice, or the third twice, or something like that. When you're dealing with open chord shapes like this, you're dealing with 4, 5, 6 string chords, but it's just 3 notes, but they're just doubled up, okay? So it's good to know. It's good to know for the future, because as long as you put those 3 notes, the D, the F sharp, and the A, anywhere on the guitar, you know, so I could find a D up here, I could find my, let's have a little look, see, F sharp there, and then I find my A back here, and there we have it. Perfectly legitimate D major chord. You know, different order of notes, but same fundamental chord. So it really helps with, you know, taking things to another level later on. So that is how it works when you're constructing a major chord, okay? We learn these lovely shapes, which is really cool, really great. But underneath these shapes, there's some really basic theory going on. It's the first, third, and fifth of the major scale to construct the chord. So the homework that I want you to do, okay, is, and this is a real challenge, is I want you to take the A major chord and the E major chord, and I want you to try and work them out. So let's take, for example, A major. Get a piece of paper out, okay, and draw out the A major scale, just like I've done here with the D major scale. So draw out the A major scale using our formula, then find the root, the third, and the fifth, and write those out. So you've got the 3 notes that will be in A major. Then pick up the guitar and then see, okay, well, look, let's just see. I'm bringing all my theories together. I'm using my notes on the neck to try and work out, okay, well, what notes are these? Are they the right notes? And we know they will be, because I'm telling you this is an A major and that will be an A major, but it's kind of working it out for yourself so you understand the why as to how it works, okay? And do exactly the same thing with the E major as well. So do the E major scale, then the root, third, fifth, and so on and so forth. So by the end of that practice, that process, you'll have a much deeper understanding of these open chords, okay? And as we advance as well, that base of knowing what your major scale and your major chord is going to serve you very, very well. So do that, have a bit of fun with that. You know, it's always a good process. Even at university level, I was always drawing out that major scale. You know, it just felt really solid to me. If I had that, you know, I can pretty much work everything out based on that. Any question that came my way. So I got really quick and good at drawing that out, as you can see. I also like using colors and pens. So it just all magically came together on my workings out sheets. So there we go. So have some fun with that, guys. Remember to continue practicing your scale shapes, your new chords, as well as the songs. Remember, some things are grouped in the guitar gym section, some things are grouped in that kind of main body of practice, and some things like this would be like right at the end of the practice, you know, whereby in this case you just need a piece of paper to try and work it out. So have fun with that, guys, and I'll see you next time. Okay, guys, so thank you so much for watching this video. That's it for today. Please do head on over to the next lesson when you're ready, which you can find here, or you can start from the beginning of the playlist right here on YouTube over here. Also, if you want to leave us a comment, we do our best to answer any questions that you might have, and pop us a like and subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. Every little helps. Thank you so much, guys. Speak to you later.